sure if we can. Sorry about that. So as Barry Goren just typed to the table, this is the second half of a 16-board match, and the Las Vegas BRIDGEBUMS are up 30-17. So this should be an exciting second half with Bart Bramley and Edmund Wu here to try to make up the deficit.
So this is a very nice fit for north-south. They'll have no trouble in 4 spades once south got raised. I hope nobody would say, oh, he's got only 11 high card points. How can he go from 2 spades to 4 spades? But once you get done counting for the 6th trump and the side 5 card suit and this and that, it becomes a pretty clear 4 spade bid. You need nothing up. If you just have partners, just the ace of spades and nothing else, you have play for 4 spades. You just have to bid it with that south hand once you get raised.
North's raise to 2 spades was a little bit on the conservative side, but after the raise to 2 hearts, he does have a problem making that an understandable bid. If he had the option of Q-bidding 2 hearts himself, I'm sure he would have done so. But given the raise, he has to either commit his side to the 3 level by Q-bidding 3 hearts or underbid a little bit with a 2 spade bid. So really didn't matter this time because as long as he made any kind of raise, as Larry indicated, the south hand is worth bidding 4 spades.
I personally would have preferred a preemptive 3 hearts by West in spite of all that junk. He did have 4 hearts to the queen. Over that, North probably would have stretched to 3 spades. All roads pretty much led to 4 spades, and East-West don't have the right stuff to go on to 5 hearts. It's not practical. Even if it might be only a 300 sacrifice, it's just not practical. I guess, let's see, they would lose 2 spades, 2 clubs, and a diamond, so it's not even worthwhile.
Right, and some might feel with that West hand that the Queen Doubleton in spades is a reason not to preempt, and there's something to that, but there also can be gains to preempting when you have Queen Doubleton in the opponent's key suit. I would say that if West had jumped to 3 hearts in this case and South ended up playing 4 spades, West would almost certainly make a trick with that Queen of Spades, whereas as we see now, West is not making that trick.
Yeah, I know the great Zia, one of his favorite things in bridge is to make one of those preempts with Queen Doubleton in the opponent's suit. He feels they'll always end up playing him for a singleton, and he'll score the Doubleton Queen. Things like that make him happy.
I'll have to tell Edmund later that he missed an opportunity to be happy there, Zia style.
So you'll have to tell us a little bit about Edmund. I see he's 24 years old. That qualifies as a junior, I guess?
Yeah, the World Bridge Federation definition of junior is have not reached your 25th birthday, I think, by December 31st of the preceding year. So Edmund will be a junior all the way through 2015. He will not be qualified for the 2016 World Junior Championship. Edmund was on the USA2 Under 26 team that played in Istanbul. He does not come from a bridge playing family at all. Edmund learned bridge at Galileo High School in San Francisco from a program sponsored by Center for Bridge Education in San Francisco. They are our sister organization here at Silicon Valley Youth Bridge. We've only been around about 1.5 years. They've been doing this for several years and have produced quite a few avid bridge players who have been successful at various levels.
Well, here we see the aggressiveness of youth. The North 2 spades is Michael's, which is pretty aggressive. Personally, vulnerable, I would be a little timid with only queen 9 fifth and ace jack fifth, but there's some merit to making such a bid.
Yeah. So Edmund played in Istanbul with partner William Zhu, who also learned bridge from Center for Bridge Education, and Bart Bramley was their partnership coach. He did a lot of work with them on their system. I'm sure Edmund's excited to have an opportunity to play with Bart here today.
So here, South's 2-no trumps as partner. Please pick your minor. And pleasantly surprising for South is that North's minor is diamonds, and they found the very good diamond fit. I wonder if South will make a move here. 5 diamonds, well, that's a bit too much. Although it's not down yet. Normally, a Michael's bid is a weakish hand, but vulnerable against not, when you commit to the 3 level, you have to have something, and South has tremendous cards. The ace of hearts in his partner's suit, and he probably suspects spade shortness and good trump support, so I don't mind the jump to 5 diamonds. Now the question is, can declarer get those hearts set up for club pitches in time? There's a good chance he'll be able to do that, because if he plays ace of hearts and a heart and judges not to put up the queen, which he might do, Bramley can't profitably shift to clubs, so there's a good chance this will make. It would be a wonderful result for North-South to get 600. They have less than half the deck in high card points. Well, this doesn't really look like a good play. Maybe he's trying to set up his queen of clubs to throw a heart from the dummy, which we can see won't work. Playing hearts to try to throw a club from dummy is just better, because you have chances to set up the hearts on length.
So for those just joining us, this is the second half of a 16-board match. The score was 30 to 17, 30 for North-South, 17 for East-West in the first half. We'll try to keep you posted on that, because apparently since these players are all playing at home on BBO, this is not a typical ViewGraph broadcast. Apparently we can't get that score input here. So as a reminder to everyone, or again for those just joining us, Michael Hu, our declarer here in 5 Diamonds, is 11 years old. He's a new member of the USBF Jr training program and a relatively new bridge player. He impressed us quite a bit in the first half with his skill. In particular, he made a contract with the great Bob Hamman defending, and he just needed a couple of little slips, but he really gave the defense every chance to go wrong. Played very well. On this hand, as Larry pointed out, Michael almost certainly should have attacked hearts first rather than clubs, that he will learn for next time.
Yeah, this is not an easy hand to play. You would expect, a very experienced player to have a shot at making it. These are the kind of deals it takes years and years of study and experience to play such contracts well. So Bramley will presumably just cash the setting trick with the king of clubs. I don't think he's going to try to do anything more fancy than that. Declarer, well, he might, will he go out for down one? Let's see.
Well, Declarer tried the queen of hearts on the second heart, perhaps, you know, because that was his only chance to make the contract. So he went up with the queen of hearts. So I don't think he has any chance at down one.
Yeah, now he's going to end up down two.
One of the reasons to get started on hearts first was, of course, to not relinquish control of that club suit and set up the opponent's club winner. But as we see here on this, even though the last heart is good, Declarer does not have control and have an entry back to his hand to cash that heart, and that's why he's going down two. So that's another reason to get started on that heart suit first, as we discussed, would have been a better plan. So I also have Edmund and Bart's convention card here. They too seem to be playing a pretty basic 2/1 card without a whole lot of gadgets. I know that they both like to play transfer responses to one club openings, and that Bart got Edmund and William to play that system and coached them quite a bit in it. But I suppose they decided for this 16-board match it would require way too much discussion to play that kind of system, so they're just playing a more standard natural system.
Well, here, a good general rule for when your partner opens a strong no trump is that 5-4 in the majors, that always starts with Stamen. 5-5 in the majors, you can start with a transfer, but 5-4 in general, the rule is start with Stamen.
Good point, Larry. And it was also pointed out to me that while I'm saying that Edmund and Bart are playing a pretty standard natural,
so there's not too much in the play of this, as we can see on the layout, but Declarer can't exactly claim. From his point of view, he's going to have to lose a spade and a diamond, and the club suit has issues. On a bad day, you will lose two club tricks and a spade and a diamond and go down. The best way to approach the play in 4 hearts here is to lead that jack of diamonds from the dummy early, because if the ace of diamonds is right, you won't have to worry about losing 2 club tricks. So after drawing trumps, or maybe right away, Declarer should lead diamonds before clubs and give himself a chance for that king of diamonds to be good, to throw a little club from the dummy, and then you'll never have to worry about losing to the ace and jack of clubs. I know there are some bridge teachers, and you know, Debbie and I feel strongly about this. They always want to try to think in terms of 10 tricks. And a no trump, that's fine, but a deal like this perfectly illustrates the right way to think about Declarer play in a suit contract. It's very hard to look for 10 tricks for Declarer. You know, you could say, well, 5 hard tricks and the ace king of spades, but it's just so much easier when you look at it from the point of view is what will Declarer have to lose. Okay, now see this club play, it's just not a good idea, because now when he later plays the diamond, if South takes the ace of diamonds and plays another club, Declarer's in danger of losing 2 club tricks. If South wins the ace of diamonds and plays a low club, Declarer could misguess.
Yeah, good point there, Larry. It seems like Edmund could have spent a little more time thinking this through. He was perhaps worried about losing control if he starts diamonds and the opponents end up tapping him, but it looks like even after drawing 3 rounds of trump, he would have enough trumps to keep control there. So Barry is not playing that low club back to put Edmund to the guess. Now, for Edmund to guess wrong, he would have to think that Michael, who was up to ducking the ace of clubs when he played a low club to the king, which would be a very tough play. Those tough plays are really difficult even for world-class players. When declarer early in a hand plays to a king to duck your ace offside, banking on them to have the queen is a great play when you can find it, and it's certainly the kind of play that world-class players are trying to prepare for in advance all the time, and they do in fact find those plays a good deal of the time. I've had partners who find those plays very frequently when declarer doesn't have the queen because they never want to miss that duck when declarer has the queen.
Yeah, on the high level, that's a very interesting part of the game. Psychology back and forth. All right, so here we have, it looks like 4 hearts for east-west, where they'll probably lose a spade, a diamond, and a club, unless they double finesse in clubs. North-south can sacrifice in 4 spades. Presumably West's raise shows 4 trumps, as most players use support doubles, so if West had 3-card heart support, he would have doubled the 1 spade overcall. The raise to 2 hearts promises 4, so East is going to want to just play in 4 hearts at this point. Now,
Yes,
as to South sacrifice, go ahead, Debbie.
I was just confirming that they do have support doubles marked on their convention card.
Okay. Now it's tempting for South to sacrifice in 4 spades. There's an old joke that 4 hearts is a transfer to 4 spades, and South does have the shape for it, but I guess he's so light in high cards, he's probably figuring, well, it's probably at least 500 anyway, so why even bother? And as we can see, 4 spades doubled is not really so good. I mean, he's off 2 hearts, a club, a spade, and 2 diamonds, so it'd probably be 800 anyway.
Yeah, and it's always dangerous to assume that just because your opponents bid a game, they will make a game. You know, even when it seems like the opponents have the values and your side doesn't, when you overcall 1 spade and all your partner does is bid 2 spades, sort of seems like the opponents are going to make 4 hearts. But sometimes you lead that singleton club and you get 2 roughs. Or sometimes they just lose 4 slow tricks. Not that far-fetched that happens. So I like South's decision to defend there, and I do think that that's a common fallacy, is when people are considering whether or not a sacrifice will be profitable, they don't pay enough attention to the fact that sometimes the opponent's game goes down.
Yeah, and South does have good defense with that singleton to lead. If his partner has either the ace of clubs or ace of hearts, I mean, they're close to setting it right away. Maybe ace of clubs in a rough and 2 spade chips. 2 spade tricks or something like that. Now it turns out with the singleton lead, South, the declarer has an easy guess in the club suit, so he should end up with an over trick. He'll draw a trump and end up in dummy and play a club to the 9, assuming the opening lead was a singleton.
And note the way that declarer will play the trump suit here is by cashing the king and the queen first, because he can only pick up jack 4th in the south hand, so he preserves the ace 10 for a potential marked finesse. Since he doesn't have the 9, there's no decision to be made as to which hard honor to cash on the second round.
Right, so he's pretty much, this hand's going to be over very quickly. He's going to play a club and finesse and throw away a spade on the 5th round of clubs and just lose a spade and a diamond. He can pretty much just throw it in. Once he takes the club finesse, throw it in for 11 tricks. If anyone's wondering, well, what if the 8 of clubs lead was from Queen 8 doubleton? You just don't worry about such things. Players don't do that, and if they do, they do, but you don't worry about that. You assume the 8 of clubs lead is what it looked like, which was a singleton. So he'll put in the 9 here. or let the 7 run.
And Bart does as Larry suggested and just simply claims 11 tricks.
So here North-South have really not enough to get to 3-no trump, but if North upgraded and opened 1-no trump, you know, he has 14 and a good 5-card suit. If he did upgrade to 1-no trump and South aggressively put it in game, they would be in one of those vulnerable games at imps. Big stretch, but might make. In fact, 1-no, 3-no, heart lead, and you would end up with 2 heart tricks, 2 spades, and 5 diamonds. This is the kind of deal where Mextroth and Rodwell have been making a living for 40 years, going plus 600 with 23 points.
So North-South in the other room now are Kevin Rosenberg and Bob Hamman, and they know that they entered this half of the match behind by 13 imps. It's a short match. If they have the sense that they haven't really picked up much yet, that could be all the more reason that they would stretch even harder than usual to bid a vulnerable game.
So where North has shown less than 15 to 17, there's no reason for North-South to get higher than a part score here. In fact, 1-no trump might end the auction.
You know, to clarify, I would not think playing 15 to 17 no trump that the North hand is a hand that one should be upgrading with. And it would definitely be a stretch. I'll upgrade many 14s with good 5-card suits, but this one doesn't seem to be worth it with the scattered honors outside, no aces, no 10s.
Yeah, it's close for me, Debbie. If you threw in some 10s, I'm there. Certainly if you threw in, made the clubs Jack 10 low and the hearts Queen 10 low, that would be enough for me. I don't know if that would do it for you.
Yeah, that might do it. Close call, but this hand for me is not close. You would need to add something like that to it. I'm told that in the other room, Hamman did not open 1-no trump, and that apparently Michael Rosenberg, who is doing commentary in the other room, indicated that Hamman was showing his age by not opening 1-no trump. So, you know, Larry's still a few years younger than Hamman, so he's thinking about opening 1-no trump.
Well, if people declare in 3-no trump the way Hamman does, I would think they would be tempted to upgrade every hand they pick up. Hamman's famous, you know, some people think he might be the greatest player of all time, and certainly his declarer play in 1-no trump and 3-no trump, in my opinion, was the biggest strength of his game. Where, you know, some stars, their strength might be competitive bidding or slam bidding. I always thought of Hamman's biggest strength is declarer play in 1-no and 3-no. You know, for some newer players who might be listening, this talk about imps and vulnerable and all that is when you are in a team match playing imp scoring, there's a big reason to want to bid vulnerable games. The payoff is tremendous. When you bid a 50-50 vulnerable game and make it, and you win your 10 imps, it's just so worthwhile, because even if it goes down 50-50 games, you would only lose 6 imps. You're like a 10-to-6 odds if it's a so-so contract. And really, even if a vulnerable game is 40%, really the break-even's about 37-38%, you do want to bid it in team scoring.
Good point, Larry. And there's so much to this game of bridge, and I'm finding that more and more as I try to teach beginners these days, that you really have to introduce it all gradually, and the subtleties of the scoring. I mean, even answering the question, what does it mean to win a game of bridge? When we're teaching kids, often they start out feeling like if they make the contract, that's a win. And that's all there is to the game. And so many new players, both kids and adults, play for a long time without really doing much in the way of scoring. I think that that's one of the advantages to newer players starting out on BBO and starting out early, is even if they're not quite sure how to figure out the scores, they do pay attention to scoring, and they learn pretty early about how scoring affects the strategy in the game, which I find that a lot of adults who learn bridge and live bridge classes don't pay nearly enough attention to the scoring.
Yeah, it's a very big part of the game if you want to win consistently. You can't just say, oh, I set them in 2 spades, and after the game say, I thought we did well, and then you find out all your plus 50s and plus 100s were terrible results. So here, East can jump to 3 hearts conservatively, or 4 hearts, and is 19 balanced. It's, I think, again, vulnerable at imps. How would you feel if you bid 3 hearts and your partner thought your partner had king 5th of hearts and a doubleton diamond and ended up in 3 hearts making 170? So I think East has to just drive it to game.
So North's 1 spade overcall here would not be everybody's taste. The advantages of getting in are the favorable vulnerability could lead, if you find a good spade fit, to a profitable sacrifice, or even sometimes making a contract, pushing the opponents too high. What's the big disadvantage? I guess the obvious disadvantage of the 1 spade overcall is if partner ends up on lead, you really, last thing you want is a spade lead. But given that you have a singleton heart and they responded 1 heart, odds are very much against partner ending up on lead. Seems like the opponents are probably headed for a heart contract, and you will be on lead.
So in 4 hearts, it's a pretty complicated hand to play. We can see the beautiful location of the club honors, and the diamonds are actually sitting well for the declarer as well. But wow, there's entry problems, and the 4-1 heartbreak is a problematic. So this could be a long, slow struggle.
It does look like a struggle, and I hope Edmund will take some time to think about it so we can talk about it. Just one more point on the bidding I wanted to get in here, because I see so much confusion about this 2 spade Q bid. When responder Q bids the suit that's overcalled, it's pretty standard that promises support for opener suit on the first round of the bidding. This Q bid by opener does not promise support for hearts. Bramley would often have a strong hand without heart support, maybe a long club suit looking for a spade stopper when he Q-bid 2 spades here. So he decided to Q-bid 2 spades anyway and then support hearts later, but I just wanted to clarify that 2 spade bid does not promise heart support.
Now, one other point to make, Debbie, I know this is going to sound obvious to most listeners, but I'm sure you've seen this with your students. Had East jumped to 4 hearts, which was certainly a possibility, 1 club, 1 heart, 4 hearts, that is not a closeout. That shows 19 or 20 points, because the responder could have only 6 points. It's very important to understand which jumps to game are 13 points and which are 20 points. Well, Declare is playing this hand way too fast. I mean, this is a complicated deal. This should slow him down. I guess now, I mean, he can't afford to keep drawing trump. He'll lose total control of the hand. He's going to lead a diamond and try to play a club up. And when he does play a club up, North's best play is second hand low, and one of the biggest errors in bridge is grabbing those aces prematurely. Let's see if Michael's up to the task of not grabbing his ace of clubs, which would make Declarer's life easy. We could see a pretty amazing play, I think. If it goes club 10 jack and a low heart is led from dummy, well, yeah, he couldn't resist. That second hand high with the ace of clubs takes years to learn not to do that, but you could see how easy that makes it for Declarer. Had he played low, it would have been very interesting.
Right, so had he played low, I don't think Larry's indicating in this particular case that Declarer would have any kind of guess. Declarer really needs a miracle club holding of the queen 10 or a double 10 or ace queen 10 on side, so he would have played the jack, but then he wouldn't have had control of the club suit the way he does here. Right, here he has control where he can draw trump at his convenience and repeat that club finesse without having to give it the lead up again later.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say is, like, if he plays the 10 of clubs, Declarer would put in the jack because he kind of needs the ace queen of clubs, right? But then he can't draw trump, all the trump, because he would lose all those spade tricks. And if he doesn't draw trump, he suffers a club ruff. And in fact, I'm told at the other table in the same position, Hamman did duck with the 10 of clubs, and then it's going to go down one. Declarer just can't do everything he needs to do. That play, Debbie, I've written a lesson called The Top 5 Errors in Bridge, and being able to play second hand low with an ace, I count that in the top 5. I just see how often it ruins the defense, and it's a tough play to learn to not hop up with those aces.
Right, and I think as you pointed out earlier, I believe specifically in this situation, it's an even more common error than usual. With just the ace, let's say ace empty third or ace 10 third, many intermediate, even advanced players would pretty routinely play low, whereas in this case, they're much more inclined to hop up with the ace because they figure since I have the ace queen anyway, if I play low, Declarer is going to finesse the jack, it's going to work, and now they're going to lead up to the king later. But it still, as Larry has been pointing out, usually works out much better, or at least the same, if not better, to play second hand low in these instances. So assuming that
I would say
makes...
Go ahead, Debbie.
No, you go ahead, Larry.
Well, I was going to say about that play, which is so important. I would say more than 9 times in 10, ducking that ace second hand. I tell my students, if they're in 7, if they're defending against a Grand Slam, they have my permission to take the ace. But otherwise, it's like 95 or more times out of 100. It's the right play. And even if they put up the king, usually it doesn't cost you anyway. So I would say if they don't steal a trick from you once every few years, you're just not ducking your aces enough.
Okay, so just to do a score update, because we are not able to enter the scores from the first half. In the first half of this match, Las Vegas BRIDGEBUMS was ahead by 13 imps. It looks like now they have lost 14 imps on this set, so we have a very close and exciting match with the SCAPROS, or SCA Pros, up by 1 imp going into these last 2 boards.
I assume it's for pride. Do the winners get anything, Debbie?
Yes. All I've heard is that the winners get very intense bragging rights, and they're all going to be happy to be supporting this cause. I know that we've seen it typed here, the link, so that you can see what this match is all about and how it came to be to support the Alzheimer's Association Longest Day. And I do want to say thank you to Lindsey Weinger, who arranged this match. You can read about all of her efforts arranging both this match and raising funds for the Longest Day by clicking the link. Maybe I know people have been typing it. I think I can give it to you now.
So Bramley chose the high road here with a two-club game-forcing response in spite of his misfit for diamonds. I like that choice. Ace, Queen, Jack, 10-6, then a King, Jack, and a void. And he's just got too good a hand, vulnerable at imps, to go any other route. So I like his decision to bid two clubs and then show the spades. And East-West will end up in the very good spade game. I suppose a diamond lead could make it a little interesting. There's a bunch of handling issues. But trumps are 3-2.
This is another lesson that I find I have to repeat very often with my intermediate students, is that once you do decide that the hand is worth a game force, or perhaps you even decide it's worth a game force, so that you can bid your longest suit first. So in responding to one diamond, two clubs by no means denies a four-card major. In general, bidding works out better when you bid your longest suit first. So if you have adequate strength to do so, that should be your preference rather than bidding a four-card major to respond to clubs, even if the spades were of better quality than what we see here. You can find that spade fit later.
Right. If East had a weaker hand, he would show that four-card major, maybe that being his only chance to show it. So this diamond lead's a bit awkward for declarer. I mean, he's going to have to maybe take a good view somewhere along the line. Let's see, he's going to take a roughing club finesse. He can afford to lose that club trick in two trumps. Let's see, if a diamond comes back now, he can rough it and duck a spade. I think he's going to be okay. He can duck one round of spades and still have control. He'll still be able to trump another diamond in his hand. He's going to duck a round of spades now. And what can they do about that?
Notice he can't duck a round of spades if South were to play the jack, because, well, maybe he could. No, he can't, because then South can lead a club to get a promotion there. North would be able to then, and sure enough, South was alert and covered that spade with the jack. So now if he leads a club, looks like there's no way for declarer to avoid losing two trump tricks.
Yeah, but couldn't declarer, that's a good point, Heavy, but couldn't declarer have taken the ace of spades, trumped dummy's last diamond, and then gone to the heart and played another spade and claimed on 3-2 spades? I don't think declarer had to open himself up to this club play now. This club play will defeat him for sure, because South King 6 of spades will be, that 6 of spades becomes a huge card.
Yeah, it looks like that's correct, Larry, that play would have worked better here, and it looks like, as you say, it would have always worked when trumps were 3-2, where, I mean, he'd be opening himself up for going down extras if trumps were 4-1, but he's not going to worry about that. So while it is often best technique to just duck a trump when you have control issues with this sort of combination, in this case, it looks like it would have been a superior play and a winning play to do as Larry suggested, cross to the ace of spades, rough that last diamond, then cross back to a heart, and then play a spade in order to cause two of the opponent's trumps to fall together and ensure losing only two trump tricks when the trumps are 3-2. So this way he gave the defense an opportunity which they did not find. Not sure if they should have. It kind of seems like South might have been able to work out what was going on there.
Yeah, granted, declarer didn't know the clubs were 4-2 the wrong way, but taking that ace of spades and roughing the diamond, surely the way to make sure you'll make it on any 3-2 trumps. Okay, that was an interesting deal. Yeah, I'm sorry. I would expect four spades did make it the other table, as you would expect.
Yeah,
so we have a one-imp match.
That was right, one of those deals that just shows up as a push on the score sheet, so often doesn't get discussed for that reason, you know, just a push. But in fact, a way of looking at it was that it wasn't really a push, it was a 12-imp swing, in the sense that North-South had an opportunity to pick up 12 imps, and if North-South had found that play, then declarer would be thinking about the fact that they could have played it differently and made the contract, and picks up 12 imps that way.
Now, all of this is much easier to see when you're looking at all four hands, but I do see Barry apologizing to his partner. No doubt he realizes what he could have done.
Yeah. So again, since we don't have running scores here, I want to remind everybody that going into this last board, since Las Vegas BRIDGEBUMS had a 13 imp lead going into this set, they're not actually behind by 14. They're only behind by 1. So we have a very exciting match here, 1 imp difference between the two teams. Now, Larry, you asked the question of what the winners get, and I'm not sure, except for pride, that there was an answer to that, but I did see what the conditions were in an event of a tie. So their official conditions, sort of very official, were that in the event of a tie, the match will be decided by an arm wrestle between Michael Hu and Bob Hamman, reading this now from the official conditions of contest, to be held at the Summer Nationals in Chicago.
In all fairness to the players, they are playing quickly. I think they just want to, you know, put on a demonstration. And if this was a serious, like the Spin Gold final, they would be taking more time on these deals. So interesting, South taking to the extreme when in doubt, bid 4 spades over 4 hearts. Quite a bold decision here to bid 4 spades, and I don't think he's going to like the king 10-3 of hearts in dummy. Well, it's possible for him to get out for only 300 if everything goes well. He certainly has to lose a spade, a heart, 2 diamonds, and a club. The question is, can he lose only those tricks? Certainly a lot of work involved to lose only those tricks. As to 4 hearts, that didn't even, I think 4 hearts would make, but not necessarily. On a spade lead, declarer's looking at potentially a loser in each suit if he doesn't do some good guessing. So 4 hearts wasn't exactly a laydown.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have sympathy for Barry's 4 spade bid here. One of the advantages is that a fair amount of the time you'll push the opponents into 5 hearts, and they'll not only be a level higher than they otherwise would have been in, but your partner will likely find a better opening lead. Certainly would be more attractive at favorable vulnerability, though, where when you do get doubled in 4 spades, the cost isn't as great since the opponent's game when they're making it would be vulnerable. So when eventually declarer plays a club on this deal, I think we'll see the importance of count signals. East will need to assume that West is giving him a count signal so that he can duck the first round of clubs safely and not be afraid of declarer having a singleton.
So West is making sure of beating it just in case he returned to trump and declarer happened to have the ace of clubs. He didn't want to see minus 590. Probably from the bidding, his partner has to have another card. He can't just have ace jack, 6 of hearts and out. But there is something said for taking the setting tricks. I understand West's play here. Now he's going to need to play another trump. So interesting position here, I think, Debbie, because now when declare leads a club to the jack and that holds, he can play the king of hearts. And then when he gets to his hand, trumping the ace of hearts, he can cash the jack of diamonds and play another club. And there's a good chance he can read the position here. West, I guess, had to keep both hearts. And it's funny because this position, down 2 or down 3, is probably the difference in the match. In fact, it is the difference in the match. If he holds it to down 2, the north-south team wins, and if he's down 3, the east-west team wins. Couldn't ask for a more exciting ending.
So I'm sorry, Larry, I'm not following. What are you saying is going to happen?
Okay, so he leads a club now to the jack, and as you pointed out, east has to duck that. Okay, you with me?
Okay, I see. Yes. Now he roughs a heart.
Well, he plays the king of hearts, which he can do.
Well, it doesn't matter whether it's the king or not, right?
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. Maybe. Okay. No, maybe I have this wrong then.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't think so. He can't do anything after all. I'm suffering from even with all 4 hands in view, not being able to analyze this correctly. I believe. I don't see a way for down 2. No.
Yeah, I don't think so. So just again, reminding everybody of the score because we don't have a running score here. In the first half, we're up by 13. So it looks like we have a 1 imp difference going into this board. Pretty exciting. So as Larry was saying, if there were a way for declarer to get out for down 2 here, that would be good enough.
Now, the general rule on a count signal is when declarer leads the suit, you give count, and sure enough, West gave count, Bramley, looks like upside down count, and Bramley correctly ducked.
So thank you everybody for coming to watch this match and support both the longest day for the Alzheimer's Association and the USBF Junior Training Program. This was fun. Thanks. I hope we'll be able to do some more matches like this in the future. This was great.
Yeah, thank you, Debbie. It was a pleasure. And congratulations to West on holding his diamonds because that was the difference between winning and losing.
I guess there's still
well, we do have
one more hurdle here,
squeeze,
actually,
right?
is that when South
Yes.
plays a diamond, if South had played a diamond at the end, East would have to be paying attention to which card partner had held so that he knew which ace.